All right. Our first item is the approval of the warrant.
So moved.
Mrs. Bond is not here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, 4-0. Next item is the meeting minutes from October 14th.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, 4-0. And you may want to need to turn that mic on, right?
Yeah.
And we have our student report.
Made it at the bell.
Yeah, the door was like
I wasn't
locked.
even going to call her out, Eric.
So, I don't have much to say today, but our NERSAC is one of like our student council like representatives. It's like a board, school council board made of like people from each grade or each town from the northeastern region of Mass, and they had a meeting today. Or not today, actually, it was 2 days ago. Their major issues they discussed from the YRBS survey was the students' lack of sleep, cyberbullying, and underqualified nutrition that educators have. And so their next meeting will be next month, and they're going to discuss possibly the solutions to these problems. They're hoping to also talk to more of like the administrative boards about this. And for our seniors, they just finished up 2 fundraisers. One was at the cross-country meet, and one was at the soccer night. They sold snacks and drinks, and then on senior night, they also sold like apple cider donuts. And today in school, actually I saw a lot of people walking around with apple cider donuts, so I think it went well. And some hot chocolate. And apparently they made over $100 in those 2 days, but they're still trying to find counselors for homecoming, which is the final date is November 21st. And they've also been prepping for the pep rally. And for the juniors, they've just been working on their babysitting night on November 14th. Right now they're trying to make flyers and send those out through like Parent Square and around the school. And our freshmen and sophomores are also just planning for their prep rally parties and stuff.
Awesome. That's it for today.
Sure, this was a regional meeting of school, student school councils?
No, it was a regional meeting of each student council has a member called an RSAC, and they have a regional meeting to just discuss what, like, if our school has like a survey, what those results are.
Okay, and do you know who that rep is for us?
Yes, our rep is Rina Risapati.
Okay.
Do you know what RSAC stands for?
Regional student something something?
Regional.
Oh. Yeah. Say it into the mic for me.
Student Advisory Council.
Okay. So we send a representative from Burlington High School along with other, I assume, Middlesex League high schools, and that was the meeting?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because the sleep thing is important, and that's why we moved the start time of the high school later. So hopefully, maybe that was discussed, but that was
4 or 5?
what is it?
More years.
2017-18.
2017-18. So,
Oh,
so it's
been a while, right?
Yeah, interesting that it's still coming up. So.
I think their main issue was also that the other schools also like they mainly start at like 7:48 maybe. So that was like the main report for the whole like meeting.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of information on that if it ever comes up again, but
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I will do our public participation. I'm just going to jot down what time it is, 7:06. All right, we have folks in the room. Want to raise your hand? No. Good. Anyone online for public participation? I have Kristen Fergno. You can unmute yourself now, I believe.
Great. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen Farino, and I am the head of the Build BHS PAC, which is a local PAC supporting the proposed New Burlington High School project. We collaborate with the Say Yes to BHS PAC and having 2 committees in town speaks broadly to the broad community support and shared belief in the need for this project. As a mom of 2 students in town, one who was a kindergartner during COVID and another who is currently a 9th grader at the Burlington High School, I've seen firsthand how important it is for our students to learn in a safe, modern, and adaptable space. My high schooler regularly shares the challenges and shortcomings of the current building, from outdated infrastructure to spaces that no longer support the demands of today's education. I personally support a yes vote on this upcoming debt exclusion because our students and teachers deserve a facility that reflects the strength, values of our community. The plans and detailed information are available on the official project website, and I encourage all residents to do their own research, attend one of the November walkthroughs. There are 3 sessions posted online, and make an informed, thoughtful decision about the future of our schools in town. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Monty Pearson.
Monty, it's on mute.
Sorry.
Can we come back, or we cannot hear you? Oh, try now.
Okay.
There you
now I'm
go.
on.
There you are.
I've now been allowed to speak. I'm here to talk about the kind of childish ideas that have been about in town about waiting until the Massachusetts School Building Authority provides money to renovate the high school and to vote down this proposal because we should be getting money from the state. And I really think that this is kind of childish because it kind of ignores the lessons of the last 15 years. The school committee wanted to have the state participate in a high school renovation process, and it has submitted 13 proposals to the Mass School Building Authority, and all of them have been turned down. And why is that? Why is that? What you have to realize is that the Mass School Building Authority is a state agency that serves all 362 or more towns in the state. And in order to give out money like that, the state has to come up with criteria for how the money goes out. And that criteria is done usually as weighted by points. So you get a lot of points for having a good plan, and you have a lot of points for having competent construction people and things like that. What the biggest thing that the Massachusetts School Building Authority does is it gives people points for having overcrowding in their schools. That's right. The most important criteria for whether or not you can get funding from the Massachusetts School Building Authority is overcrowding in your schools. Burlington has gotten money from the Massachusetts School Building Authority several times. We got money from doing the Marshall Simon School, and we just got money for Fox Hill. In both of those situations, those schools had overcrowding problems. Now, the Burlington High School is the opposite of that. The Massachusetts Building Authority is not interested in a high school that is twice as big as the number of students that are in it. Our high school was built to have 2,000 students in it, and it now has a little bit less than 1,000, like 950, something like that. So that means when the building authority sits down and scores applications each year from towns, that means that we come up with a big blank in terms of crowding issues. And that puts us at a distinct disadvantage to anyone else who applies for money.
Thank you, Monty. Your time's up.
I can't talk any longer than
Nope.
that? I'm not finished.
I know.
Okay. Well,
Hillary
it's-
Kleck, thank you.
Hello.
Hi. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Hillary Kleck, and I'm a Burlington parent. I'm here to talk more about why I'm voting yes for the Burlington High School upgrade. Every child deserves a school built for them, not one that leaves anyone out. Education has always been a cornerstone of my values, passed down from my own parents. About 20 years ago, my first child, my daughter, was born blind. Over the years, I've seen how thoughtful design and accessibility can open doors, and how easily the lack of it can close them. That perspective reminds me how important it is to create schools where every student, regardless of ability, can truly belong. That's why this project matters. It's not just about new walls and wiring, but about creating a high school that welcomes and supports all learners, which I actually saw earlier on the equity statement as well. My son, who's 9 now, in the 4th grade at Fox Hill, he will enter Burlington High in about 5 years. When he does, I want him to learn in an environment that reflects the world he's preparing to lead, one that's inclusive, modern, and inspiring. Our students deserve up-to-date technology, safe facilities, and spaces that support collaboration and growth. I understand that some residents worry about the cost, but delaying this investment only raises the price tag, financially and educationally. The longer we wait, the more we pay in construction costs and in lost opportunity. Our students are already missing out on experiences that prepare them for the future. That's why this project matters. Again, it's not just about new walls, wiring, even just about the building itself, but about creating a high school that welcomes and supports all learners. The time to invest in Burlington's future is now, not when it costs more, but when it matters most. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Martha Simon.
Okay, I think I unmuted. I would like to talk about a couple things tonight. I want to appreciate all the work that's been gone into the new literacy curriculum. I want to thank Dr. Chen. I want to thank all the teachers that have spent the time researching what's a good curriculum, getting that. I want to thank them all for committing to the training, which isn't easy, especially if it's not the way that you've taught it before. And I just think it's a really important step forward that we waited kind of long for, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't go forward. And I think it's really helpful. I'm also encouraged. I'm not a big fan of MCAS, but the MCAS scores have come back looking a little better this year. And maybe with this new curriculum, it will help the scores that do matter to some people and also that show us that kids are learning. We already have been doing the multiple assessments throughout the year to keep on track of what kids are needing. It's something now that the state is looking to do statewide. So I just want to thank all the people who've been doing this for the last couple of years and making it happen this year. I'm very glad to see that that's happening. I also know you're going to be talking later about competency determination, and I just would really warn you to not fall back into standardized testing. There's other ways to learn about students' competency in an area with portfolios and hands-on learning, and I think those are things that I would hope that our district would be focusing on. And then finally, I do want to comment about encourage people to vote yes on the high school building project. It's something that's long overdue. If our literacy review was long overdue, that didn't mean we should cancel it. It means we should go ahead and do it. Building a high school is a lot more money. The timing is difficult because of other projects in town, but if we wait, this project will just get more expensive and it will be much more disruptive to our students. They would not be able to continue in the building while the construction was going on if we had a major breakdown. For people who think that we could come up with a better plan, I encourage you to look back at the 27 meetings that we had where we made these decisions. We looked at many options, some of which were very exciting and very promising, but they didn't work. So yes, it's many things people are talking about now are good ideas, but they didn't work. we have wetlands, we have a steep hill, we have rock ledge. There are all kinds of reasons, even buying an empty building in
Thank
town.
you,
We
Martha.
looked at those options. Thank you.
Anyone else? No more hands. All right, thank you. Do we have any subcommittee reports?
Just one for the field subcommittee. We've been continued for conservation to November 13th. They should hear the updated plan to close out the notice of intent. So once we hear back on that, I will report back to the committee.
Sounds good. All right. Ways and Means?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ways and Means has nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Sounds good. Other announcements? Okay. Middle school pathway exploration model policy, second reading. Dr. Chen.
Yes. This is in its second reading. You guys saw it the first time. This is a middle school's pathway exploration that we are, for the second reading, that we're asking. It's recommended that we make the recommendation to the committee to approve the Burlington Public Schools Middle School Pathway Exploration Model Policy. And what this is about is just ensuring that our students have the opportunity to explore, starting from the middle school, other pathways that are more CTE oriented in career and academic planning. CTE. Career and technical education. Excuse me for that.
Again, this is a second reading. You've seen it. There's a larger context here. The larger context, and you'll be more details as soon as Shawsheen passes or their school committee adopts their admissions process. All the vocational technical schools in Massachusetts are going to a lottery system. There are a few things that you can prioritize in that lottery system, like attendance, but you can, the interviews that our kids used to do, sort of the concern about matching is no longer going to be part of that process. I think the state's intention is to have the student populations in the vocational schools represent the populations of the schools that feed those schools. And so we'll have to see what the end results are here, but the MyCap process is, we have a deadline, Lisa, of November 1st.
November 1st.
And so they really want to try to level the playing field when it comes to middle schoolers' exposure to the voc tech, to make sure all kids have sort of the same exposure. So if they want to apply, they would have an equal chance in terms of the lottery. I believe a priority that is being looked at is attendance starting in 7th grade. So I just want to, again, when that is official, we'll introduce that to the committee and the community, but I do think student attendance is going to be something that is allowed and a priority. And I think again, the bigger picture here is the state can't build themselves out of the demand for career and technical seats. What they're starting to see, and it's going to be sort of connected to some future conversations we have, is I think the pendulum is starting to swing back to more comprehensive high schools. So the state is putting money into establishing career and technical pathways in what they call comprehensive high schools, but high schools like Burlington High School. So they're going to be the state has put money into those programs, and we're going to be exploring expanding, again, career and technical education opportunities without leaving Burlington High School, and we'll talk to you more about that. But I just think there's going to be lots of changes in the very short term when it comes to career and technical education. So again, our recommendation, because we have a deadline, this is sort of standard language, and it's a second reading.
It is a second reading. We did the first reading at the last school committee meeting.
So we do need to establish that we are going to be participating in this MyCap, and that we'll be following sort of the new standards that the state has established for career and technical education.
And the one thing that it also does is better vertical alignment, I think, between what is offered between the middle school and the high school. So it's all good stuff for our students. So our recommendation, please, is for the committee to vote to approve the Burlington Public Schools Middle School Pathway Exploration Model Policy.
Second.
Just one quick question. So the information sharing sessions fall in line with the admin's process, right? So the sessions happen with enough time for folks to decide they want to get admitted, do the paperwork, all that kind of stuff?
Yes, it does. And in addition to that, what it also adds is that it also adds the self-assessments starting in grade 6.
Yeah, and it used to not be so collaborative sometimes, the admissions process, and it was sometimes competitive in a sense way back in the day, and I think they're just trying to standardize it a little bit.
Okay, I have a motion on the table. We're done? Oh, you have another question.
Sorry, just one more. So the Parent Square notifications, we're doing more than one, yes? Cool, yeah.
I think to the point where we're getting complaints now, but yes,
Yeah.
we will be doing more.
That's a big one, though, if people miss that one.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, 4-0. Thank you.
All right, and then our next one is, which in the first reading, it actually did go through the subcommittee of our school committee. It is about the CD policy, and this policy is for the competency determination of graduation requirements. It is in its first reading, and it aligns also, this is something that Mark Sullivan has worked with other principals on as well, too, and so it is very consistent with what's going on with the other high schools. And as you can see, to show mastery, a student must successfully complete in accordance with the school's grading policy, a final assessment for a course, a capstone or portfolio project, or an equivalent measure is identified in Burlington High School's program of studies. And it goes in to outline what is in the program of studies. And then it also allows folks that in the past that they can also take a look at when they did not do well on their MCAS to also appeal, looking at the MCAS that were administered within a certain amount of time.
Just so we are sort of clear, CD is competency determination. It's what the bar is, what you all set to earn a high school diploma. Again, the state used to try to set that bar with MCAS as a standardized way of doing that. The governor has put together a task force that is looking at creating graduation requirements, so there is still some equivalency across districts. My belief is this policy is just going to be a placeholder until the new state policy is corrected. Obviously, this policy puts a lot more emphasis on coursework and passing the coursework at the high school. We are still recommending that students participate in MCAS, so it doesn't take away participation, but what we're saying is the score of the MCAS doesn't determine whether you earn a high school diploma. So I think that's kind of the conversation. This is where the Middlesex League principals have sort of, we need to have a policy, so this is sort of where they agreed to start, but everyone understands that this is probably going to change in the relatively near future as the state task force comes together.
Yes.
Lisa, you mentioned capstone or portfolio, is that in here somewhere?
Yes, it is, ma'am. If you take a look on the first page, it is under the third paragraph. It shows, to show mastery, a student must successfully complete in accordance with the school's grading policy, the final assessment for a course, or a capstone, or portfolio project, or an equivalent measure.
Okay. The "or" is what I was looking for. So
Yes, ma'am.
students who take a course, do well, pass the final, no problem, they don't have to then go on to do a portfolio or a capstone. That's alternatives to testing through it in the typical way. Okay, thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
I just had one question around the math. So, I did a little digging when we got this paperwork, and it seems like nationally, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 are requirements for a lot of the graduations. Just wanted to know why we kind of opted for the Algebra 2. I know we implemented the new pathways for math, and I just wanted to kind of get some clarification on that to understand a little better that requirement.
Mr. Brooks, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. You're asking why Algebra 2 is not required?
Yeah, part of the CD.
Again, I think that's the MCAS test wasn't an Algebra 2 test. It was really a sort of an Algebra 1 geometry. So I think they were trying to equate the coursework to that. Nothing would preclude you all at some point, if you want to add Algebra 2, we would do that. I do think what's interesting with a prescribed course list is, and Lisa and I know this well, is that having an 8th grade course count towards a high school diploma means that the Algebra 1 course has to be a high school level course.
Yes, it does.
And that means with a high school licensed teacher with the same curriculum, with the same sort of assessment. So it's really, it no longer becomes, it's almost like a high school embassy in the middle school. It becomes a high school course that's delivered in 8th grade. So,
And I think at the same time, it would give for those students that we also want to continue to push, right? And who are all high achieving students. We want to continue to have them grow higher and higher. It also gives the opportunity that if it now counts in the 8th grade, for instance, as a high school, that it opens up the doors for you to take even more math this is just the bar, right? But you can always go above it. And so it opens the door for you to even take even more. If you satisfy that credit requirement in middle school, you can replace it with other credits, other classes in the high school.
Don't we have a requirement for more than 2 years of math to graduate?
Yes.
So these kind of contradict each other.
again, I think...
It's 1 year each of Algebra 1 and Geometry.
Right, but you can't currently graduate from Burlington High School with only 2 years of math. There's a requirement for more than that, I believe.
4 full-year courses.
4 4-year courses.
Yeah. So...
But I guess they don't have to include Algebra 2.
Yeah, it's just saying it seemed to be kind of a national standard, and I was just digging in why we kind of moved away from it. Not neither for or against, just I know we did a lot of realignment with having the different pathways so folks can onboard and offboard to get to the level they need to. So I just wanted to make sure that was kind of in the mix with the consideration there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think my point is different. My point is that if we are going from requiring 4 years of math to 2, I'm opposed to that.
4 years is still in there.
Okay.
It's just the only 2 that you have to take
All right,
are Algebra 1 and
one of
Geometry.
Algebra, one of Geometry.
And then the other 2 can be your choice. Statistics, I assume.
That's a half year.
Yeah.
So you would still need the 4 years of math, because again, this is also under the umbrella of Mass Core, and where, so we have to sort of fit in a bunch of different buckets. I think there's going to be lots of clarity, but I do think we were trying to, the state is asking us to replace the MCAS standard with another standard, and so we're trying to establish this standard across, and I do think...
So what this really says is even though you have to take 4 years of math, one of them has to be Algebra 1 and one of them has to be
geometry. And what it also says is, it helps, to your point, Mr. Brooks, about the pathway. So what it also says is that, what will also count is if you happen to be in the middle school and you take, it will count now because our goal is the following year, as I said, to get instead of that hybrid, to have the 3 pathways, which is for 8th grade, which is the regular grade 8 class, still the Algebra 1 and the grade 8 class, and then a pure Algebra 1 class.
And
So
someone-
actually,
I'm sorry.
that raises the point, are you then having to take 5 years?
Of math?
Yes.
No, but you
No,
can. So
you can if you want to, I'm sorry.
So I just feel like we should clarify this. So if you took Algebra 1 in 8th grade, you could then theoretically only take 3 years of high school math and graduate.
No, because what someone is texting me to remind me is because competency and graduation are 2 separate things.
Okay.
So we are defining sort of the minimum competency that we're asking sort of kids to get over, and that would be sort of the level of competency as determined by Algebra 1 and geometry. In order to earn a high school diploma, though, you need 4 years of mathematics
We
to
should
do that.
perhaps clarify that in the section 2.
Right.
It says, it says right here, but we can even make it more, in addition to competency and determination, Burlington students must complete local graduation requirements. And then the credit requirements are as follows.
So it says
Mark is killing me.
Math for full year courses,
Tell
but
Mike to
above,
get on
if
there
it
and
says
talk to
Algebra
us.
1 in 8th grade counts, do you see where I feel like there's some confusion? If I'm saying I took it, Algebra 1 in 8th grade, that counts, I could foresee an argument where someone would say, okay, then I'm taking 3 more years in high school and I'm taking senior year off of math. And that's 4 full year courses.
Yes.
So that is allowed.
I think so, yes. You still need 4 years. What Mark is telling me, and he's going to
Okay.
hop on now, is what we're trying to do with the competency is replicate the MCAS standard. That's why it's
I
Algebra
see.
1
And then the graduation
geometry.
requirements are separate.
And then
Number 2.
graduation, you
Okay.
still need 4 years of
Okay.
doing that. And the 8th grade, again, if in fact it is the high
Yep.
school course, then that would count as one of those 4 years.
Okay, I think that I want to know your intention. I guess I could go either way, but do you want kids to be taking math every single 4 years that they're in BHS, or 4 years total? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
I think that would be their plan. Mark, are you online by any chance?
Not yet.
Not yet?
We can pause. I have like a semi-unrelated question. I think you answered it, but maybe not if we're talking 2 separate things. The top section, the competency, offers that equivalent measure as identified in the program of studies. But the graduation requirements do not include that caveat. So I don't know if we want to also include that. I assume we offer probably like some sort of sports exemption for PE or something like that. I just want to make sure that's included too.
Okay. And then Christina is texting me as well, so we'll see what she pops. She's repeating that again, competency and graduation are 2 different things.
Okay, makes sense.
And so
And it does say earning a diploma requires meeting competency and completing local graduation requirements. Students must fulfill both sets of criteria to graduate. Also unrelated, while we're waiting for folks to join, I am noticing that it says classes from 2003 forward who only missed a diploma because of MCAS can petition for a diploma. Can we try to spread that word? Is it best of our abilities?
we can.
Okay.
And yes, we
Okay.
can. We actually had very few
Okay, good.
folks
Good, okay.
who have done that.
Okay.
And I think the state has been trying to communicate that
Okay. That's true.
as best they can. So, again, this is a
It's
first.
a first reading.
this is a first reading,
Mark
so
and Christina can come.
to the second.
Oh, here's
reading.
Mark. Surprise.
Is Mark there?
I'm here. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm here. I missed the last 2 minutes, so, because I was trying to connect.
Mark, you've been working on this with the other principals, is that correct, nearby?
Yes, yep, the Middlesex League principals have been working closely together on it.
And again, I probably didn't do as good a job separating competency from graduation.
Yeah, they're two distinct things. So the state is asking to demonstrate, you're basically replicating what the MCAS used to measure, which isn't the highest bar, but it was a baseline of competency for students to be able to earn a high school diploma across the state. So it was a baseline measure, not a high achieving measure, so to say. So it's replicating what the competency was, the baseline across the state. The graduation requirements are not changing. So you still need to take 4 years of math, 3 years of history, 2 years of world language, et cetera. And then I think you were saying if our algebra class becomes a full 8th grade class, that would just open up different pathways for students when they get to the high school, but that wouldn't change their competency. They would still be measured by the algebra and geometry by 10th grade, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yes. My question to you is the intention, if someone takes algebra as an 8th grade, the graduation requirement simply says 4 full year courses.
So we would have to have that conversation. They would still need to take 4 years at the high school.
That's what I think needs to get clarified. Yeah.
And we haven't yet gotten to that point. So we certainly, if we're going to have a high school class in 8th grade, we would have to have a discussion about what our program of studies looks like at that point in time. Are we still going to require them to take 4 years of math at the high school plus the 8th grade class they took? Or would they only have to take 3 years and open them up to take something else at the high school? We would have to have that conversation and determine what the best option is. But since we aren't fully offering that high school algebra course yet, we haven't made any decisions around that.
Okay, I think if we're putting that in the policy, we probably have to pick one for this. So either take out the algebra 1 in 8th grade counts for now.
Mm-hmm.
It can count if it's a high school course. So I think that's kind of language.
Still to be determined whether or not they need 4 or 3 in high school.
That's to graduate.
Well, right now they still need 4. So per our program of studies, they still need 4.
Okay.
And in January, when we do the program for next year, we will either have that updated or we'll have some decisions around that at that time.
Okay. I think if we're going to publish this policy in the fall of 2025, then that we should say 4 years of math in the high school or asterisk or something.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yep, we can do that.
All right, this is first reading, so we're good. Good.
I actually have I have one question unrelated to math. So world language classes that are offered at the middle school, would any of those count towards the high school, the local graduation requirement?
No.
No.
Currently, no, they do not.
Is that something that's
the high school, you have to take 2 consecutive years of world language. I don't think so, because I think when kids are applying, the students are applying for colleges. The colleges really want to see 2 years taken at high school, and given 95% of our kids want the post-secondary education, I think that would be detrimental to them if we allowed kids to start opting out of high school world language.
So is the reason that we can't just offer that option if someone wants to take more STEM classes or has an interest in some other area, would like to explore more STEM, fine arts, something else, is there a reason that we can't have that option available so that students can take a world language in 8th grade and then take one in 9th grade the same, and then move forward to explore other interests, strengths, personal strengths?
Mark, can I take a stab at this through the chair, Mr. Wojcik? Some of that is honestly determined at the state level, and I don't want to over confuse this. I think there are honestly some states that have, through their sort of core program, have equated foreign language to computer programming or something like that. So they would have that sort of replacement. I think in our Mass Core, they're allowing an advanced computer science class to count as a mathematics or science, so they've made that determination. So is it possible? Yes, but I think we'd have to have some guidance from the state. Some of this has to do with the license of the instructor that is presenting it, and some of it has to do with sort of the curriculum content of the course. So what they might say of a middle school foreign language course is it's introductory. The content wouldn't be sort of rigorous enough to equate to a high school experience, so they may not allow that to happen. And it sort of gets down to even the inane. I think what Lisa and I would sort of tell you is the 8th grade Algebra 1 course in Virginia that counted as a high school graduation requirement had to have a high school course number. And in Virginia, all the course numbers are the same in every program of studies. The classroom experience isn't the same because everyone teaches who they are, but high school Algebra 1 that counts towards graduation, you could probably tell them the course number. It's I forget it. It's been too long for me, but it was the same. It would be the same course number. So
That's how it was in the county where I grew up. So that's
right, but if that
model I'm thinking of.
If that were to occur, then if you were to take French 1, it would need to be sort of the high school equivalent of that course. It couldn't just be an introductory or an exploratory in that foreign language. So some of this is just bookkeeping, and some of it is, again, without MCAS, the state is going to try to struggle to figure out some way of equating that. But really stressed more, and I'm glad Mark jumped on, the difference between competency and graduation requirement. So you all can sort of set that bar where you want it, and then we also need to make sure that the state we're sort of aligning ourselves with the state as well. Mark, did you want to add anything to my foreign language answer?
No, I think that made sense. And, it would have to be a much bigger conversation. I think, like you said, I think the way they conduct world language classes at the middle school are different. They are exploratory in nature in some sense. Kids can move around languages. So you really want that 2 consecutive years as well. And I'm not aware of any. There are a lot of schools right now that are offering that Algebra 1 experience because the pathway kind of makes sense. But I'm not aware of any local schools that are allowing world languages or other kinds of courses that's not opting out of high school courses. I'm just not aware of any other districts that are doing even anything like that.
Can I just make a comment about it? I think the reason behind doing algebra in the 8th grade isn't so much to open up a schedule in the high school. It's to get a jump. Like some of the students will take algebra currently, since it isn't offered in the 8th grade. Some of the students will take algebra and geometry as freshmen, so that by the time they get to their junior year, they're ready to take calculus and then take something different like statistics and whatever else their senior year. So the students that are really invested in taking math courses, it helps them to get the Algebra 1 out of the way in the 8th grade, and then they have 4 years still to take other math courses.
Through the chair, that makes sense. I mean, I took 2 years of Spanish and then 3 years of Italian. So then I had an extra elective my senior year. So I thought it was an interesting option. I know it would take, it appears that it would take some time and, a larger conversation. So happy to table that now, but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'd like that you're asking these questions because this is a really important topic, and the state is sort of, from my perspective, respectfully to the governor or everyone, I haven't really
And the Commissioner of Education.
haven't really discussed this this change a whole lot. So again, I do think it's an important topic.
It is.
So there is a motion just,
First reading.
first reading. I'm so sorry.
So we're all good.
You're lucky, you don't need a motion, so.
Moving on.
Biology MCAS?
Yes, so if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Kuna, pulling up the PowerPoint. I just wanted to give an update to the MCAS presentation that occurred last school committee meeting.
Nobody cares.
All right, can you click onto the next slide, please? All right, so one of the clarifications I wanted to provide for us, and I really want to thank a lot of folks who had a lot of questions about how we're doing with science performance, is that what's unique, and I did talk to the person that we're working very closely with, which is Open Architect, and they do a phenomenal job of providing us the data visualization, is that grade 10 biology is one of those DESE computations that is done a little bit differently than any of the other MCAS tests. And so, as you can see, this is our performance of when it comes to our grade 10 biology performance. But what I want to talk to you about this is the following, that even if you take grade 9 biology, your score will not count until you turn 10th grade. So some of these scores are also scores of our students who are continuing on in our high school that took it in 9th grade. And so, as you can see, we are still continuing to work on when it comes to our biology. We have kind of stayed status quo, and so we need to continue to look at our curriculum. Can you turn to the next slide? However, what they do in the item analysis, as once you start disaggregating the data, what they do is they actually take the item analysis of our students this year of 2025, when they took the grade 9 students, when grade 9 students took the biology course. So that's where the item analysis comes from. And so because of this, our scores actually are much higher than what I had showed you originally. So as you can see, one of the areas that we need to still work on is ecology. So we scored about 47%, but the state scored above about 57%. We are above when it comes to evolution with 57% of the average correct, 61% we're above the state when it comes to hereditary, and then molecules to organisms, we are 54% as opposed to the 46%. And so, next slide. So one of the things that we are going to continue to work on, and I've spoken to Holly Potters, who's the department chair of the science department of the high school, is we're going to continue to work on our Tier 1 instruction. We're going to continue to refine and deepen the standards-based units. We're going to continue to do a deep analysis of our ecology. We're going to be exploring new textbooks and instructional resources aligned with recent standards and taking a digital interface of our MCAS platform. And we're continuing to do the vertical alignment of the crosswalk analysis between grade 8 and grade 9 data to strengthen continuity between life science and biology instruction to identify target areas of support. So again, I just wanted to just go over that clarity, because it looked like we had done much lower, but we had not done much lower. In fact, we had surpassed the state in 3 of our buckets. The one bucket that we need to continue to work on, like we are with our other themes, is going to be ecology.
Again, Madam Chair, you all sort of know this already, but the state had required passing a science MCAS in one of 3 areas, biology, chemistry, or physics. There were so few students taking the chemistry, and it was so costly to maintain the test that the state phased out the chemistry. The majority of kids across the state take biology, because if they need to take it more than once and they're taking it freshman year, that gives them the most amount of time to take the test multiple times in order to earn the diploma. participation in the test, again, is still required, but a passing score is no longer needed. So what I think that we're going to be focusing on is whether the stakes associated with the test drove some of the performance, and we'll sort of see that moving forward. So, and that'll take a couple of years for us to look at. But the vast majority of our kids are taking the biology assessment because that aligns with their ninth grade experience. But so I think this year, 2025, would be the first year that the score doesn't equate to earning a diploma.
I just wanted to give that clarification. Are there any?
Your only report, or you?
Yeah, that's it. That's, I just wanted to, and then the other thing, just really quickly, is that we're continuing to work very hard with the director of our career pathways and taking a look at exploration of our pathways, particular trying to make, we're applying for the second phase of that particular grant. So that's very exciting. So we'll see what happens with that. And it really is to take a look at our computer science technology pathway, to try and put that in our school. And we're in the process of working on that and turning in that grant.
Sounds good.
And then one last thing, that we're finalizing the dates with all of our principals at the elementary level, because we hope to put a curriculum night that showcases what is occurring right now with CKLA. And we're talking about combining that also with math, science, and social studies. So a type of elementary curriculum night, but that is in the planning phases. And as I get more information about that, I'll be sharing that with you. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the parents would like to see all the new CKLM materials and all the books and all that.
Yes, and that's what we're working on.
Okay, love it. I'll be there. Fox Hill, okay. We have submitted the 90% submission for Fox Hill. We approved that, was it last week? The weeks are running together a little bit. So the MSBA has received that. They will give comments back on that. We were able to make a few budgetary reductions on that, so we could be nice and fiscally responsible. So the 90% is with the state, and then they're working furiously on 100%, and the 100% will go to bid in December. The team has assured us that the 4 pre-qualified construction companies do plan to submit bids, so we expect 4 bids in December, and ground will break in 2026 when the ground is thawed. Yes, and we are expecting to be under budget by about $6 million, to be determined the exact number when the bids come back. Dr. Conti, you want to update on the high school since Ms. Bond is not here?
Sure. I think just trying to think, the biggest conversation we've had about the high school was in the construction budget, we went through some value sort of engineering conversations that we'd been working on for many years to submit, in terms of trying to, we have a not to exceed number, but trying to shape some of the project. And I'm trying to give one concrete example was we had a wall shielding some of the equipment on the roof, but it was on the back side of the roof, and I'm going to blank on the amount. I think it was roughly $190,000, and the committee voted to take that screening wall off of the roof because it was already going to be screened from the front. And there was also, again, there was a landscaping feature that that was also included in the front of the building that the committee felt we could do without that landscaping feature. So that was part of the conversation. It wasn't all sort of subtracts. There was a small section of roof above the library that people, it was suggested that we go with a metal roof just because it would last longer and perform just as well. And so I think that was a slight add, but I think in sort of the total grand scheme of things, in terms of the high school project, or am I talking about the
You're talking about Fox Hill,
Fox Hill,
which is
wrong
okay.
project, I'm sorry. So I apologize, that is Fox Hill.
Yep, that's okay. I can update on BHS. I don't think we've had another, we've had a couple community meetings. So do we have the dates for the tours? Someone have them?
Oh, yeah, Bob, we have those? So I'm sorry, I should have done the tours right away.
So we have a meeting November 5th, and then one November 8th. I will confirm the times in 1 second.
Yeah, so we're going to be offering tours of the building for those who want to see it, to help them decide what they would like to vote on November 15th. The early voting also begins next week, so you have the times.
Yep. So on November 5th, here at the high school main entrance from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
Also Saturday, November 8th, same main entrance of the high school, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And myself, my staff, administrative staff will be here, maybe some students. We have, I think, some confirmation of students.
Okay, great.
But, yep, we will be here to lead the tour, answer questions, and show you around.
Make a comment?
Sure.
I'd like to encourage people who have any questions about the building and the project to go to these walkthroughs. I think it's interesting when you actually see, you go with the mindset that what if I was here on crutches or in a wheelchair? I think it's very interesting to see how difficult it is to get from one place to another. And I'd like to encourage people to really pay attention to that, because it's one of the most important aspects of this whole thing, is to make the building accessible to everyone. A very long time ago, when I first started to work in Burlington, my job was to work with kids who could not go to school for physical reasons or because they were ill or whatever. And one of the reasons some of them couldn't go is they couldn't get around the building. It is simply not accessible. So I hope that people will go to the walkthroughs and look carefully at what is here and what really needs to happen.
Thanks. Those are on the project website as well, if folks need a reminder. All right. Facilities and transportation?
Nothing new to update.
Okay. Anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Just one old business point. So I was rewatching the meeting from two weeks ago. So one question I just wanted to ask to kind of an alibi. So we've accepted about like $500K worth of grants. Initially, that first $400K grant was supposed to offset the warrant the town meeting gave us. Since we can't do that now, have we looked at the possibility of reprogramming any other O&M budgets, as the English department's budget's been plussed up by $500K? Is there space there? Are there any things that we could possibly reprogram to help out other areas of the curriculum?
Through the chair, Mr. Brooks, unlike my last comment about Fox Hill for the high school, I want to make sure the PRISM grant, is that the
Correct, yeah.
literacy
So I
grant?
just didn't know if that freed up O&M budget in the English department, or that's strictly to pay for just the curriculum implementation.
Again, I thought that was more of an exploratory for the middle school. Is that?
So that particular grant, just so that you know, it does not allow us to pay for anything in the past. What it does allow us is specifically for K, 1, 2, and 3. So it allows us for in the future, when we need to do a little bit more money for additional supplies, for professional development that we're doing right now, for the implementation, that's what it can pay for. But it is very, very stringent about what we can use the money for. I cannot use the money for grades 4 and grade 5. It's specifically for K, 1, 2, and 3.
And we're also looking at a middle school grant as well?
We were at, and I can see where we are with that, but I do know that I can look into that, and I'll ask Dr. Bonnie Nichols about that, but at some point we were, but let me look into that.
Yeah, like I said, I just didn't know if the scope of that grant gave us enough leeway to reprogram some other monies, because again, 500K additional to the budget is some places I'd look to reprogram some things if we had that, availability to do so.
Yeah.
I believe the PRISM grant is 400 and something, but that's what you're talking about, has to be dedicated to the program K to 3.
Yes.
The other grant that you're talking about was about $60,000. The one that we talked about at the last meeting.
Yeah, the health planning grant.
Yeah.
That's
And
one.
what's that one dedicated to?
That one is dedicated for professional development, with particularly for when we get to the point of adopting the new health standards.
I see.
But until it goes.
Specifically for health.
Specifically for health and PE only.
Right, but isn't it true that most grants are for a specific purpose? They can't be reapplied to pay for something else?
That is absolutely true.
Okay.
I wish they could, but they can't, because we have to, when you take money from DESE or the government, they require you to write reports on how it's doing.
Yeah, well, it's the point of the grant. It's a grant for a specific reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. I do think I have a motion on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.